So now we're going to move on to 7.2 number 27, which I have right here. It's a little bit small. Let me zoom in for a second so you can see what it says. Scrolling down. Whoopee. All right, it says find Z alpha. That's a Greek letter A, alpha. So we're supposed to find Z alpha for Z sub 0.05. Now, Z alpha, when you see a subscript notation underneath your Z like this, what that means is that the area in the right tail, for example, if you look over here, it'd be like an area over here in the right tail is equal to whatever this subscript is. So it's 0.05. So we're talking about, look, if there's 5% over here, that must mean the rest of it is 95%, right? All right. So the right tail is 0.05. That means the left tail is 1 minus that, right? Okay, now why did I do that? Well, because how we're going to find the z-score. There's no good way to do this. I'm going to do an underscore 0.05. That's right next to your equal button. It's the next button over between the 0 and the equal. All right, z sub 0.05. What would that be? Well, there's a function. Let me show it to you. It's called norm. Okay, now notice when you get to norm, there are 4 of them. There's norm S dist. We already used those. Those are for finding probabilities. I'm not looking for a probability here. I know the probability. It's 0.05 and 0.95. What I'm looking for are these scores that go on the bottom, the horizontal axis scores, the z-scores. Okay, for those, what I'm doing is I'm doing the inverse. So it's going to be norm S inverse because this is the standard normal curve. You can tell because it's Z. Z goes with the standard ones. So let me click norm S inverse. And you have to tell it the probability. Let me click there for a second. And oops, it didn't tell us what we wanted. Probability has to be the left tail area. It's not telling me what it wants, but that's the way it's got to be. So I have to use the left tail area, which is this one right here. Click on that. 0.95, enter. That is the proper z-score. This is the answer right here. Oopsie. Sorry about that. I hate it when I do things wrong like that. There we go, bolding, and everything's great. All right, this is the z-score. Notice it's positive, which only makes sense because if you're talking about a score that has 0.05 over here on the right, 0.95 over here, it has to be on the right-hand side. It has to be. Okie dokie. So the tricky thing about these ones is just to remember that you have to do the opposite. You have to do the 1 minus part to get the left tail, and that's what has to go in here. You have to use the left tail, not the right tail. That's just standard issue for norm S inverse. All right, I think we're done with 7.2. Let me double check that. I did 7.2.13. And I bolded and highlighted all those answers in the meantime between tutorials. And then over here we did this one. Great. All right, so next time we will head on to 7.3.